So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. You know, Grifter in Chief is back at it, and what's stopping him? Don't really know. Do you? This is the Hillbilly Think Tank. Spencer Keck coming at you live from Tunnel Hills here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Y'all, I think we need to spend taxpayer money that the government gathers on Americans. I think it really needs to be Americans first. You know, Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't help our allies and neighbors, but we definitely need to look at if we're going to spend 40 billion, which we did in Argentina, we gave away $40 billion. Well, there could have been $40 billion used by many other people that need it right now. But before we talk about that, what other smoke screens have been put up to make us ignore all this crazy stuff that keeps on coming out of this White House? You know, Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, confirms that Trump called American service members suckers and losers, refused to visit their graves during Memorial Day because it was raining and wet, and that he didn't want to be seen with amputee veterans because they make him look bad. Uh, you know, you might want to just try to blow that off like we always do. Oh, that was just a disgruntled former employee. Well, you know what? That was a big general, combat vet, combat general, many years in service. He served in the Marine Corps, was never known for being a liberal at all. He was conservative, but he wasn't a yes man in the end. So he told the truth, just as Secretary of Defense General Mattis told the truth about Trump, you know? And Trump doesn't like that. He wants yes men, especially his military men. So here we are. We got a grifter in chief, doesn't respect veterans, doesn't respect the military, but uses us as pawns. He insulted Gold Star parents on many occasions. Just think back to when we lost some Army soldiers and Green Berets in Africa, how he insulted the parents that he called, had to have Kelly help him. Man, staff, chief of staff, John Kelly, that is, General John Kelly. But here we are. He's letting his Secretary of Defense run amok. What is it next? We've bombed the crap out of Iran, that we are now going after little boats over in the Caribbean. We just dropped off more troops, U.S. troops in Puerto Rico, opened up a base that we've had closed forever in Vieques, opened that back up so we can start our excursion in the Caribbean, go from there to Venezuela. Hey, I'd love to be wrong, and I'm hoping that these escapades with these boats end up making Congress really look hard and fast at what's going on and make them do their job, which is supposed to be one of the balances and the checks in our system. The executive is supposed to be checked by the Supreme Court, the legislative, both, but the Supreme Court isn't checking him. Legislative hasn't done one thing to check him. They're just his rubber stamp. Johnson is absolutely a rubber stamp for this president. So they're right now, they've been letting him lead us straight on into conflict in Venezuela. But finally, some folks are getting out there, doing their job, and raising serious questions about what it is that we're doing in Venezuela. Do we have any business there? And hopefully, we can get Congress to do their job and get out here and start looking into what this Secretary of Defense is trying to get us into and why. Why do we need to go take a sledgehammer to drive in attack the tiniest of nails? Right? Venezuela is responsible for, at the most, 10% of the fentanyl and illicit drugs that come into this country. 90% come in straight through ships bringing them in from China and other countries, and then other places making sure they can get them in through our southern neighbor. That's just the truth. Now, we don't need to do anything to Venezuela, but we want their oil. So we're taking a sledgehammer to hammer in attack. It's absolutely obvious. We're using this whole narco terrorist jargon to try to make a war that we have no business being in. There are other ways, easy ways, to cut off that 10% supply. But, what we really want is that oil. Now, all this money, again, that we're spending on these excursions could easily be spent on Americans. We gave that $40 billion again to Argentina, just hand it to them. Oh, they said they're out of American currency. They needed us to come hand them some. And we did during our shutdown while we weren't feeding Americans, while we were holding the Affordable Care Act funding hostage. We went ahead and gave $40 million to Argentina, 40 billion, not million, $40 billion to Argentina, gave billions to Israel, as we do every year. And now we're talking about a $12 billion farmer aid package. Really? That's all we can do. But as I outlined the other night, yes, this is needed, but this is going to go straight to ConAgra, Bayer, John Deere, and all these companies that are involved in the agricultural industrial complex. We're shutting down American farms, family farms. Every single year, we're losing far too many. We're making farming towns ghost towns due to the dwindling number, the minuscule number now that we have of actual family farmers. So these family farmers, they owe out the wazoo to the companies that leverage them to buy new tractors every year, the companies that leverage them to buy their monopoly on seeds and their monopoly on all of the chemicals that they put in the fields. The farmers have a lot of debt that they got to pay off for every year. And now that we have sunk that soy business and the soy trade and left our soy rotting on the plants, and now we have tanked the American cattleman in Kentucky produces a lot of beef cattle. Now that we've done that, the companies that the farmers owe, they want their money. They don't care. So they'll be taking all of this farm aid into their pockets. It won't go to the farmer. That farm will give the money the government gives them. They'll give that money straight to all these members of the agricultural industrial complex. And the farmers will still go under. And yet Argentina won't. We made Argentina great again. It is time that we look up and down our ballot, every single thing that affects us, and say, is it really working? Have we been sold a bill of goods? Do we need to change course? Vote for folks who really believe in the regular America, the American farmer, the small town storefront business that is going under also because the farmers aren't coming in to buy stuff from their store when the farmers can barely afford being leveraged to the hilt to buy new tractors, to buy seeds that end up planting that when the harvest time comes, they don't get to sell their harvest to their former markets. Now Argentina has those. When are we going to say, hey, up and down our ballot, we need to reassess how we've been voting, what kind of bill of goods we've been sold over the years. Folks saying they're friends of the farmers, they're doing just the opposite. And we finally got the biggest grifter of them all. And what did he do? He's helping his friends in Argentina with their grift. He's helping himself filling his pockets and his Bitcoin ventures and everything else he does. But he has not done one thing to truly help American agriculture. And I'm not talking the agriculture industrial complex. I'm talking the men and women and their kids that get up early every morning to go take care of their American animals and their American crops on American soil. We've got to reassess the bill of goods we've been sold. We bought into this, oh, they're going to take our guns. Oh, they want people to use bathrooms that we don't think they should use. That's been a huge smokescreen. Has it done anything to help the price of my American ribeye? Has it made it more affordable for me to buy an American ribeye? Has it made it easier for me to find ribeyes grown right here in the USA? Or has it only helped me find more Argentinian beef? I'm pretty damn sure it's made it a lot harder for me to find and buy good quality American beef. But I've seen a whole glutted market now come in with this Argentinian beef. And I'll tell you what, I love to eat an American ribeye any chance I get. Always have since my papa introduced me to it. And I always will every chance I get. But the chances are getting for me slimmer and slimmer for me to find that American quality grown beef. So pleading with you. Let's turn the course. Let's don't get sold down and out by hucksters. All right. We can do better. We must do better. This is the future now. So I'm still enjoying my Second Amendment rights. Democrats haven't ruined that for me. And I'm not going to give up my Second Amendment rights, but I'm also not going to give up my First Amendment rights. And I have a right to protest, to say I disagree, and to turn course, to redress my grievances by turning course. And I will make sure that that's what I do. And I hope that we all can, because Hardin County and Kentucky and USA, we deserve a real America first. We deserve our neighbors to truly be treated first, not just Wall Street and not just big oil tycoons. So let's take our money, put it where our mouth is, and that is in America. All right. Y'all have a great night, a great rest of the week. Hopefully your Monday was great. And remember, we are our brother's keeper. We're our sister's keeper. We love our neighbors as we love ourselves. God bless you, a corazon. Vote for me for Magistrate, District 3. Again, that is Magistrate in District 3 here in Hardin County. Give me your vote. Thank you.